Sure if it's the kind of weather that Sarah was offering for a day out at the seaside, but perhaps you are. Perhaps you're going to enjoy the breeze and there'll be some sunshine. If you are there, it might help to have eyes in the back of your head to prevent these guys stealing your food. What about eyes on the front of your takeaway box?
Yeah, that is a new theory that's been put forward by experts who say that attaching googly eyes, you know, those little shaky ones, to the front of the snack can deter any opportunistic thieves. Our reporter Jake Zuckerman has been to the seaside to test out that theory.
They're the scourge of the seaside holiday. We've tried everything to keep seagulls off our chips, including staring at them and even shouting at them.
Get off my chips!
Well, now those crazy scientists have come up with what they think is an even better way of keeping the seagulls off your chips, and it's this: googly eyes on the box. Apparently, it terrifies those seagulls.
So we found that if you present gulls with takeaway boxes with and without eyes on, that gulls are far less likely to approach and eat from takeaway boxes that have eyes on. So in essence, gulls seem to be deterred by the presence of eyes.
But folks here in Cleethorpes may take some convincing.
Apparently, the scientists say if you stick googly eyes onto the front of your chip box, it scares them away. They won't dare go near it. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think they'd still want the chips.
Well, I have to raid my child's art box.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, it looks all right.
It's a novel idea, isn't it?
I think it's a bit daft, but I don't know.
You know, I'd try it. I'm scared to death of them.
I'll give you some googly eyes. That's it. It'll keep you safe. Considering maybe putting some googly eyes on your lunch there, would you like some?
I'll take some googly eyes, yeah. Stops the seagulls from taking it.
Do you think it would work?
Probably, yeah, just a bit like a scarecrow, really, isn't it?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
Well, I mean,
Just the smell would attract them, wouldn't it?
looks a bit scary to me.
No, seagulls are too bold. You need to put something that's sort of moving.
Well, my dog scares them off. They won't come there with my dog there. Put some on mine.
They'll still come. The only thing that'll stop a seagull is kill it.
We've heard the theory, but will it work in the real world?
Here comes the science bit.
Maybe it was the eyes, or perhaps the chips were just a bit cold and minging by this stage. Either way, the seagulls were not in the least bit interested.
But if it works, why stick to chips? I mean, there's plenty of other things to eat here at the seaside.
You've got your ring donuts, and no seagulls having mine, Mr. Whippy. So after years of suffering from aerial bombardments, let's hope this is the solution we've all been waiting for.
Jake Zuckerman, BBC News.
So that's the theory tested out. Let's talk some more with the ecologist, Dr. Alice Risley. Morning. Nice to see you. Does it work, do you think?
I'm sure it does for some gulls, yeah. So it's quite an instinctive reaction for a lot of species that if you see something like eyes, it does make you think twice. And as this study shows from University of Exeter, sometimes you just need a little bit of time to prepare. And if you have a gull that's waiting 20 seconds to attack, that gives you time to, you know, prepare your food or hide your food, which makes a difference.
And what is it about the eyes themselves? It's nothing else. It's nothing scary. It's nothing that's going to scare off the bird, but it's the eyes bit.
There is a bit of a reptile part of our brain across all species that do respond to things that look like eyes. So even humans, if you see eyes on a wall, or if you paint eyes on a wall, it's less likely to get graffitied because we just sort of know it's not predator, we know it's not someone looking at us, but it's literally just something in the back of our brains. It's like something's watching me, and so I need to be on my, best behaviour. And I think that's the case across a lot of animals, and that's why, a lot of insects have got eye patterns on them.
I was thinking of butterflies and moths.
Exactly, the eye spots that, they don't think it's a real eye, but it's something instinctive that sort of stops them.
Do you like seagulls?
As a scientist, I find them very interesting. I do like them. At the same time, I don't have gulls on my roof keeping me up all night, so I do sort of understand sometimes that they can be annoying. I study them in the northwest, in Cumbria and Lancashire. We do a lot of gull ringing, a lot of research onto their health and disease, that kind of thing. And I do find them a fascinating species in that they've adapted so well to our towns and cities. And part of that we need to remember is because, we're also degrading or destroying some of their natural habitats. So in from their perspective, they're finding a better deal in our towns and cities.
They're just trying to survive.
Exactly, yeah.
We've had Tony who's messaged in to the programme who says, when he'd seen this piece, the film earlier, he says, it reminds me of the 1960s when I grew up in Portsmouth. We were forever pestered by gulls, so found a way to get our own back. It's simple, really. We mixed a strong portion of mustard, tore off a strip of bread from the loaf, smothered the bread in mustard, then threw the bread up in the air. And then it was immediately taken by a seagull. Not for long, though. They spat it out, and only for another bird to swoop and grab it, and so it went on, and we just laughed our heads off. Mustard, that's the key.
I love that. I love these, like, smart ways. And I think that's great because this has been an issue, urban gulls, for decades, 60s, 70s, so this is not a new thing. And I like the fact that, so, for example, in my garden, if I've got a rat, what I'll do is I'll take away the bird feeders and I'll put chili out, and so I'm kind of trying to, I won't go and put a trap out, but I'll kind of try and move it on. And I like that mustard idea because I thought, oh, what about birds? If I don't want a bird there, how could I do it? And so thank you to that person because mustard's a good idea. Yeah, for
and
birds.
that's the point, isn't it? It's about moving them on or moving them away from areas where they may be a nuisance rather than getting into the territory of needing to cull them.
Absolutely. And I think that's something where this research, the research on gulls more broadly, really helps us know how to do that. We don't want to just move them on to another town because then another town deals with them. We want to make sure they're thriving in their natural habitats, and that means actually nature restoration, making sure there's enough resources for them in these other places.
Is that happening, nature restoration? I mean, because I think it's really easy to see them as pests and to kind of have them as this almost trope that no one wants them, get rid of them, whatever. Are there efforts being made so that they have better natural habitats or habitats?
There is a lot of sort of ocean conservation, shoreline conservation going on where we're trying to restore coastlines and the ecology of coastlines, and that's really beneficial also to local fisheries, that kind of thing. So yes, whether it's working, whether it's effective is another matter. We need to monitor that.
Do you think people are understanding that narrative, though, as well?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we need a bit more data on that side of that human element about what, how they feel about gulls. If we want to work towards coexistence, people are a really important part of that. And so working with people, also bringing them into the sort of more research and science side is so important because through that, you learn a bit more about it and you're more likely to understand the sort of ecology and not just like, they're flying rats.
And because they've moved into more urban spaces, we see them eating anything.
Yes.
Fish and chips there in that video, perfect example. What is their natural food source? What is their natural place in the food chain?
Naturally, they would eat a lot of things like earthworms, slugs. So you see them on fields and football pitches doing the sort of rain dance. Yeah. That's to sort of get the earthworms up. A lot of coastal resources, starfish, flatfish, a lot of like flatfish in things like rock pools, crabs, crustaceans. So that would be, I would say, they're not, but also birds and small mammals, I should say. So they're predators too. So they would eat the chicks of other birds, rats.
Why that
pigeons.
sharp beak is so necessary, I guess.
Oh, they're predators, yeah. That's what I like about them. I do like, they're part of our natural ecosystems. Animals eat other animals, so it's totally natural.
So we're going with the mustard on the bread, throwing the mustard on the bread in the air.
I would say let's get a study on that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea.
There you go. You can thank Tony, who got in touch.
Thanks, Tony.
For all of that. Thank you so much for joining us on the sofa. And it is good to think about seagulls in a different way. I think the narrative can always be like so prescriptive, and actually we just need to be a bit kinder to them. Dr. Alice Risley, thank you.
Thank you.
That is it from breakfast this morning.